Welcome to A Meaningful Marketplace.
I'm Sarah Massoni from Oregon State University's Food Innovation Center, where I've helped countless dreamers launch their new food products. It's the science of taking a food delight from the kitchen to mass manufacturing and still keeping its great taste. That's what I do. I've been called the woman with the $1 million palate, although I haven't tried to cash that check yet. Listen in weekly for real-life stories.
I'm Sarah Marshall, owner of Marshall's Hot Sauce and author of Preservation Pantry, modern canning from root to top and stem to core. I love inspiring business owners to get started on their journey, encourage folks to be part of their local community, and I'm excited to help business owners tell their stories. Hello and welcome to the Meaningful Marketplace. We are here weekly to discuss the journeys of food entrepreneurs. We're glad you've joined us today as we bring you stories of hope and inspiration. This is Sarah Marshall, owner of Marshall's Hot Sauce.
And Sarah Massoni of Oregon State University's Food Innovation Center. Hi, Miss Sarah.
Hey, buddy. You have big news. Let's announce it.
Do-do-do-do. I've been at the Food Innovation Center for 25 years.
Whoa!
How'd that happen?
Congratulations. I know firsthand, because I've known you for, 15 of those 25 years, how many people you've helped since you've been there. So I know that it's a lot and that you do so much for so many. And so congratulations on 25 years there.
That's
congratulations.
Of the fittest.
That's so huge, my buddy. Good job.
Thanks, Sarah.
Yeah. Any things you want to update people on before we move into the logistics?
Well, for my next 25 years.
Yeah, what do you got going on for the next 25?
Well, I'm gonna focus on convening like-minded people.
I like that. Creating community?
Yeah.
Cool.
Creating community.
I feel like you always do that, but maybe you have something specific in mind.
You never know.
Well, I hope I'm part of it. That's all I'm going to say.
You're in for sure.
Well, we've been partnering with the Regional Food Business Center to bring you guests from our 6-state region, and we are currently meeting with business owners from Washington. We would like to encourage you to connect with your state by signing up for the Regional Food Business newsletter. It's a breeze to sign up. Just go to Northwest Rocky Mountain Regional Food Business Center.com, hit connect with us, and choose the button to receive newsletters. We want to thank our sponsor for supporting the Meaningful Marketplace. Thank you for helping us spread the word about small business owners and entrepreneurs. Let's hear a word from our sponsor. The Northwest and Rocky Mountain Regional Food Business Center is the proud sponsor of the Meaningful Marketplace podcast, giving a voice to food from across the 6-state region of Colorado, Idaho, Montana, Oregon, Washington, and Wyoming. The Food Business Center supports Northwest and Rocky Mountain food industry makers as part of the USDA's National Network of Food Business Centers, supporting a more resilient, diverse, and competitive food system as a go-to source for small and mid-tier food and farm businesses with a focus on underserved communities, providing education in the form of technical knowledge, business programs, and industry news. We sponsor trade shows, meetups, and conferences to connect growers, producers, retailers, distributors, and processors, all to stimulate business and raise the standards of our storied food industry. Join us as we travel through the 6-state region, learning more about food makers, food hubs, and food systems. Visit the website at Northwest Rocky Mountain Regional Food Businesses.com to get connected. And I would like to introduce you to our guest today, Ash. She is the owner of... Oh man, I hope I say the name right, and if not, I know you'll help me. Ojaswe?
That is so close. So I will say it's Ojaswe, but our now little team says it in so many different ways. And honestly, we're not super particular on what you call us. As long as you're eating our product and helping our farmers, we're like, this is great. You call us whatever you want.
I meant to ask you before because I've only seen it written and I've never heard you say it personally. So now I know.
It's funny. I'm so glad you asked because we've had people say Ojaswe because there are so many Spanish speakers in and around where we live. The J is always a ha.
Yeah.
We've had people say Ojaswe, Ojaswe. Like I said, Sarah, we're not at all particular.
Well, we'll get into the meaning of it in just a minute. But first, let's tell people, so you're based in Washington. We're super excited that you're on the show today, but let's tell people how to find you online so they can follow along, get to know you through Instagram and your website, and get to know your story a little bit better.
Yeah, thank you again for that plug. To find us on Instagram, Instagram is the social platform where we are the most active. Go to Ojaswe, Ojasweco, Ojaswe Co. There's actually a helpful new video that we just posted with all 5 of us on the team saying it differently.
That's great. You
So
have
if you're,
5 people on your team now.
we do, I know, Sarah, isn't that
Oh
wild?
my gosh, that's
I
amazing.
know. A lot of them are part-timers. I'm still the only full-timer. Happy to continue that conversation. But it's great to not be doing this just by myself on a daily basis anymore. So Instagram, Ojaswe Co. Our website is Ojaswe, OJASWE.com. Those are our 2 primary channels.
Perfect. We always like to start at the beginning. So let's talk about when you started the business and then why you chose the name, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, I started the business, not so much the product, but the idea of a business centered around food, maybe around late 2020. The holidays of 2022 is when I started the idea. We didn't have a product in market. I didn't know I was going to have a product in market. I come from the world of big CPG. So going from there to, I just wanted a break post pandemic because it was really intense for, as you both well know, for those of us in the food world, pandemic was really, really relentless and hard, and there were no off days. I ended up leaving my then job to go through a climate farm school program, ended up going to work on a farm in the San Juans for a little bit, and just found myself falling more and more in love with regional food systems and just working with farmers, talking to farmers in the program. It was clear that there's so much incredible work going on here in the Pacific Northwest, especially. And I wanted to just be part of the work. So we started out as just a place to gather around food, and we'd bring on a guest farmer. A lot of it was just online, even back then, because the gathering bans hadn't quite lifted. So we did a lot of online learning around food systems. Invited guests to small gatherings. It went from there to doing more gathering around meals, working with local chefs to bring people together, chefs and farmers usually. And the one thing we kept hearing over and over again was, this is great. Like, I love meeting farmers and chefs at the table, but how do I continue staying connected to this work at home? And for me, the maybe too obvious answer was to say, oh, great. Like, maybe there is a way to move small, medium-sized farmers' crops into everyday pantry products that people can have on their shelves in their pantries and take a look at and still feel like they are participating in a more wholesome conversation about our food system.
I love that. I feel like that is always kind of a challenge for people, even just being part of the farmers market. People sometimes know their farmers at the market during that maybe Saturday that they go to the market, but then they don't really always know how to stay involved afterward. It's kind of a good way to like guide them to be. That's what I always say about our sauces is like, well, since I get all my stuff from these same farmers, you can go home and you're taking them home with you, and then you can have them there at your home throughout the week, just like you can with their vegetables, but it's like a good way to keep people connected to those farmers and those people all around.
I love that you're
True.
sharing that story about your sauces too.
Let's talk about the items that people can get from you currently from your website. If they go online, what kind of things can they find?
Ooh, so what we have in market right now is the same products that we have on our website. We have 2 savory pancake mixes. They are made with black chickpea flour and spices. We also have, because it's the holidays, we only do this during the holiday season. We have little stocking stuffer sizes. It's 1 serving, so
What?
it's half a cup. It's to put in someone's stocking if you know they're a foodie, if you know they're vegan, if you know they're looking for naturally gluten-free products. It's a sweet, easy entry point, I think, into the product. So that's the other thing that we have listed on our website. It's also the same stuff that we sell in farmers markets right now.
Very cool. And tell us about, you mentioned black chickpea flour. I don't think that's like a common ingredient that people see. Can you explain it a little bit and where you source it from?
Yeah, black chickpeas are an heirloom grain. So they're not, they occur naturally in nature. Black chickpeas, especially the varietal that we use, there is more than one type of black chickpea, which is a thing I did not know till I started down this journey. One of the varietals is native to Italy, and the other is native to South Asia and parts of Turkey, I'm told. The variety that we source is the heirloom grain that originated in South Asia, but it's grown right here. So it's grown in parts of Montana. It's grown in just across the border in Saskatchewan. And our very first farm partners that we sourced from to this day are literally across the border. So I went to the first time I visited them, I flew into Montana and drove across the border to get to their farm. You can pretty much throw a stone and hit their farm from the border. But so it goes. They are technically in Canada. The Axton family farm started growing these chickpeas for their own soil health and their own soil rotation. And when I visited the farm, my intention was we're very much a farmer-led company. We're not farmer-owned, but we're very farmer-led. So my intention was to go ask them, what is it that you grow that we can source from you? Because there's not, when a random entrepreneur shows up in the middle of your farm and says, oh, well, I want to do something, and there's always a little skepticism around it. But it was great to meet this incredible fourth generation family farmer who was growing these black chickpeas that I was familiar with. My family is South Asian, and these are very, very familiar ingredient to South Asians, to folks that cook South Asian food even. And finding out that this diaspora significant crop grows right here in our backyard was a light bulb moment for me. And it's amazing to see that we don't have to, in order to preserve cultural food ways or ways of eating that maybe people who've recently immigrated here grew up with, we don't have to ship stuff halfway across the world. There are so many things growing right here in our backyard that are regenerative, that are better for the soil, that are grown without pesticides and chemicals, that also honor your culture and your way of eating. And to me, it was an easy, I was like, yes, I know what to do with these. And it's crazy, right? Because oftentimes there's no mainstream market, as you pointed out, Sarah. This is not a familiar ingredient to like a mainstream North American. So a lot of times these products grow here, but get shipped back halfway across the world, which is not a very efficient or climate friendly way to run a food system.
That means there's a lot of education that you need to do, right, for consumers.
Bingo, Sarah. That is exactly right. That's our biggest challenge, because we're trying to tell people, oh, black chickpeas, totally natural. This is how they taste. This is how they're different. This is how they are similar to what you know. And we're also trying to say, here is regenerative, which is a very buzzy word right now, but very few people that I have talked to at farmers markets truly know or understand what it means. So there is the uphill task of like educating people on not just the grain, but also the practices with which it's grown.
When I was looking at your website, it looks like you can do a lot of different things with your mixes. It's not just, a pancake mix. You can make other things with them as well. Can you kind of walk people through your favorite ways to use your mixes?
This is a tough one. One of my favorite ways to eat the mix, not necessarily to cook it, but to eat it, is to make little fritters out of it. The reason that I don't love cooking it is it's fried, and I'm not a huge fan of what happens to my house when I fry foods inside the house.
Stinky.
So stinky. It just like all of it just captured in my house, and I just smell fried oil when I'm falling asleep, which is not great. But it's still my favorite way to eat the product.
What oil do you use if you fry stuff?
I've been using avocado.
Oh.
To fry stuff, just because it has a higher smoke point. My very temperamental old stove can deal with it, and nothing's going to catch fire.
I usually, if I'm going to fry something, I don't know if you have a barbecue, but my barbecue has a little burner on it, and I will do it outside on the little burner, and then I don't have to have.
That's a good.
That's smart.
That's my tip.
Very smart. My barbecue does have a burner. I haven't actually used it. It's a smart idea. Thank you. That might solve my problem, but might lead to a whole lot of fried food.
I know. Maybe you don't want that problem to be solved for your health.
Or you could just buy one of those big old turkey fryers and just fry everything outside.
That just feels like a disaster waiting to happen in
I
my
know.
house. I am so afraid of turkey fries.
Yeah.
Uh, both great ideas. I will go recommend this to my family after this. But yeah, fried fritters are one of my favorite ways to eat it. On an everyday basis, pancakes continue to be like the easiest thing for me to do just because you can throw a bunch of the batter is so versatile. You can throw leftover veggies into it. It works all season round. Like right now, we've made it with delicata squash in there. As long as it's cut thin enough that it'll cook down with the pancake, you can just put raw veggies in the batter. Squashes grated down, summer squashes grated down, onions, tomatoes, pickles if you have them. I wouldn't cook down the pickles, but I'd, put them on after your pancakes ready. So pancakes, the OG, are my very, very much my go-to. Fritters are my favorite way to eat it.
Very fun. We're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, I'd like to hear what a typical day like is for you as a small business owner. We'll be right back.
Oregon State University's College of Agricultural Sciences and the Food Innovation Center are proud sponsors of Meaningful Marketplace. With a mission to serve all Oregonians, we are committed to giving voice to those whose food and agricultural stories are not always heard. By providing access and opportunity for a more diverse and just food system, because food brings people together.
All right, Ash, can you tell us, do you start the day with exercise, a cup of coffee, or pancakes?
Ooh, cup of coffee. A cup of coffee. I'm very much a coffee fiend. Great question, Sarah. I'm also very much a creature of habit. So dog gets fed first, breakfast gets put on, and then coffee in the mornings. Funnily enough, though, my go-to for breakfast these days is oatmeal. And it's oatmeal from one of our local farm partners.
Mm.
So my mid-morning snack is more chilla pancakes.
That sounds good. And then do you just get right to work?
Oh, I wish. No, I don't get right to work. I have a teenage tiny human, a medium-sized human, I guess now. So there is some amount of parenting involved in getting said human out the door to school. One of the things I love about being a small business owner is that I get to let my mornings be my mornings. And I do things that work for my schedule, which is not something that I had the freedom to do when I was in a more corporate job, right? There is so many dependencies. There are so many people sort of dictating your schedule for you. But as a small business owner, it's a double-edged sword, but it's been great to be able to have the mornings to myself. I'm very much a morning person. So I think coffee, getting the kid out the door, some kind of workout, whether that's taking the dog for a long walk or like doing some sort of working out harder during the holidays. And then getting down to work is usually how that goes for me.
What is your target for weekly sales? Have you set those kinds of targets for your business?
No, so this is the year 2 for us with product and market. And this year was the first year we were in a weekly farmers market during our market season. So I think going into next year, this is the first season where going into a new calendar year, we actually have some historical data and we're able to say, okay, so here is what we should do for the next quarter and then the quarter after that. And here is maybe the channels we can get to. So I would say we don't have, up until this point, we haven't had concrete targets. For next year, we do have concrete targets. For us, the weekly target for product is if we hit about $700 or $800 a week for product on a steady basis, that would be a successful first quarter for us.
That sounds pretty good. Sarah Marshall, do you do forecasting like that? You leave it up to your money person.
No, I don't really do forecasting. I just look at what we did and just hope that we do the same. But
previously. So that is kind of forecasting. You look at the previous year's sales and
yeah, it gets tricky though because so many businesses change and things that we do change because sometimes we'll do all these events and then next year those events won't happen and sometimes we will get a really big article written about us, so we'll sell a lot online, but then the next year maybe we won't have that happen or sometimes we'll have a lot of really big wholesale accounts, and then sometimes those places will go out of business. So it's like always this kind of juggling act. So I try not
Ebb and
to,
flow.
yeah, I try not to be too dependent on one thing or the other. And I just sort of hustle and bustle as much as I can. It's
Yeah.
really, I mean, if forecasting gets tricky for a small business owner, it's a little bit different when you are a bigger business and you can be like, we need to sell this many units to Costco, and if we don't sell it to Costco, we'll sell it to Walmart. It's like it's different for a small business owner because
Mhm.
you have to have a certain amount of money coming in by making this kind of smallest amount of product rather than making a really big amount of product and moving these big numbers. So it's like a little trickier.
Yep. Sarah, if you don't mind me asking, when you do look at your numbers and say, I want to sort of maintain this for the next so and so period, are you
Mhm.
also looking at it as a factor of period? As in, are you saying last month to this month, last quarter to this quarter, or is it much more here is a overall macro, this is the amount we did and this is the amount we want to target?
I usually look at it like per thing we're doing. So I'll look at like
Mm.
our online sales and I'll say, okay, we did this much in online sales. And if we're kind of down, then I'll be like, oh, well, the best way for us to get more online sales is to get some press or to send out more newsletters. And so then I'll try to increase that to get those numbers to go back up. And then I'll look at our events and I'll say, we've made this much in our events so far this year. And if it's down, then I'll be like, okay, I got to schedule more events. And so I'll kind of look at it per section of what we're doing rather than like the big picture of the money. I don't know, that's how we
Yeah.
do it just because we have so many different parts that we're juggling.
Yeah, you're not wrong. That I think has been one of the biggest lessons to learn and the hardest lesson to learn going
Mhm.
from like really large, well-resourced corporations to being a small business owner who's also playing in the same pool in some way is that idea that things are different when you're a small business.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Ash,
Having
check out Sarah's recent post. She just launched a sandwich with this company called Lardo here in Portland. And she just did like this big social media post. So I'm sure she's selling the stuff to them in gallons, like buckets,
Ooh,
or are you selling in barrels yet?
I'm
Sarah
selling
Michael?
it. Yes, I'm selling them hot sauce in gallons. But the coolest thing about that project is that the sandwich is dedicated to my mom, and she volunteers at a local food bank and clothing closet. And the money raised from the sandwich goes to that,
That's
to the
cool.
place where she volunteers. And because they ran out of food this Thanksgiving,
Oh
yep,
no.
because
yep.
everybody needs food, and so that's the best thing about that. But yeah, and so that's kind of the thing is that it's kind of hard to explain. Like when I look at stuff, I'm not trying to pay attention so much to numbers as much as I'm trying to pay attention to just like where where I've dropped the ball or where I've not been putting enough focus. So I'll kind of look at the numbers, but then I'll be like, "Oh man, I haven't done anything online in a while, or I haven't done any
Hmm.
I haven't sent out a newsletter in a while, and I can tell because I look at this number and I can tell that I haven't done that. And
Hmm.
so even though it is the numbers, it's more about like how I'm connecting to the people around. And
Hmm.
so I try not to be very focused on money because I don't like that, but
Hmm.
I'll use that money to like inspire me for like what I end up doing, you know,
Hmm.
with those
That's good
projects. So
advice.
and then it makes me more motivated. Like money doesn't motivate me, but if I'm like, oh wow, I haven't connected to our newsletter followers, and those are like the people that love us the most, and I haven't sent out anything to them in 6 months, I should probably do that.
Oh,
You know what I mean?
Yep.
give them a
Yep.
And you can
Christmas
tell.
deal or something.
Yeah, and then I do, and then it's like, oh yeah, there they are
Boom, all the
again.
orders come.
Yeah,
They were waiting for your coupon or whatever,
they
your
sure
discount code.
are.
Ash, do you
This
have a
season.
discount code that you use sometimes online?
So for holidays, we typically don't do discounts. We're
Mm,
at, I think this is the other peril of being a small business that's values led, right? There's not a ton of margin in our product. Pay our farmers highly equitably. We're in compostable packaging right now. We
mm,
pay, my first employee was for in the kitchen for production and We make sure she's getting paid a living wage. With all of that, we don't have a ton of margin. So the only discount we do is a small little discount for signing up to our newsletter when you go onto our website.
Can we tell people how to do that so they can go sign up for your
Yes, I would love
newsletter?
that. So if you go to our website, which is www.ojaswe.com, there should be a little pop-up that comes up. But once you are on the website, please sign up to our newsletter. I don't, much like you, Sarah, it's not a, I'm juggling so much at any given point in time that the newsletter is not a regular thing. There is a series of emails you get when you sign up, but I set those ages ago. So some of those need updating. And it will include a welcome code. But once you sign up, you will have the code emailed to you and you can use it on the website. We do have a reorder discount. We just want to thank people for buying our product the first time. There is a code on the bag that you can scan to get 10% off whenever you order. We do ship. It's an easy product to ship across the country. So we do have orders that come in from friends who bought it at farmers markets. So someone gifted it to someone for a holiday. So we do have a few of those that come in all through the year. And if you've got a bag, there is a code at the back of the bag that lets you get a reorder discount.
I love that. For our listeners that are in Washington, where can they go to buy directly from you? Are you doing farmers markets or holiday events right now?
Yeah, not doing any holiday events, but we got into our first winter market this year. So I'm so excited to start that this week. It'll be the Capitol Hill Farmers Market if you're in Seattle. We will be there every Sunday from December all the way through March, and I'm very excited for it. If you can't find us in farmers markets or don't want to come down to Capitol Hill from wherever you live in the Seattle or Washington area, there's a few different ways to get it. Pacific Coast Harvest, which is a CSA, carries us. Patty Pan Cooperative, also a farmers market vendor. They do home deliveries of their product and a few other local food products, so they carry us. Local Yokels, which is a local community. It is a great name. These are all such fun people too. Local Yokels, which is a little local grocery store that also does CSA style boxes. They carry us. There are two stores that are brick and mortar. One of them is a specialty curated Pan Asian food store called Mixed Pantry in Belltown. And we just got into another local grocer in Olympia called Farm and Flourish. They're in Centralia. They're, in the Olympia region.
Very cool. Well, unfortunately, this is the part I like the least because we've run out of time. But if you,
Bonkers.
I know, but I loved meeting you and hearing about your product and your story. And just one final question I always like to ask is if you have any advice for anybody who's currently dreaming up a business. A lot of our listeners are people who are wanting to start a business. Do you have any advice for them?
Surround yourself with community. Find people who've walked the path before. Find people. It's how I met Sarah Missoni. Find those business resources in your area, the food business resource centers in your area. Sarah, you called it out earlier. A lot of my learning time was cut short after I met a lot of these people, after I met, incredible people who are experts in their field. They may not have all the answers, but you will at least hear perspectives that you don't have, however much you've done this before.
I love that. I think that's great advice. I love what you're doing and your dedication to regenerative farming and your farmers. And it was great talking to you today. Thanks for coming on the show.
Same. Thank you for having me.
And thank you for listening to the Meaningful Marketplace podcast. Before you go, you can leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or iTunes. You can follow us on Instagram and YouTube at Meaningful Marketplace Podcast. And you can call or text Sarah and I with questions at 503-395-8858. We couldn't do this without our fantastic team at Joy of Creation Production House. Thanks to Dave, our production coordinator, and Haley, our audio engineer. We will be back next week. Thanks for joining us, everybody. Bye.
Bye for now.
If you love the stories we bring you each week, please consider supporting us on Patreon. As an independent media company, your support is absolutely essential. It allows us to continue creating high-quality professional episodes that amplify the voices of women, small business owners, writers, artists, and creatives, and keep their stories free from commercial pressure. By becoming a Patreon member, you're not just supporting us, you're investing in the future of independent media. Please visit patreon.com/The Joy of Creation Production House to join our community today. Thank you for listening and supporting our podcast dreams.